I'm gonna check. I mean, yeah, and I can hear myself as well on the test thing, so that's good.
I can hear your voice all the time, Tom. Even
Thank
when
you.
you're not about, I can hear
I hope that's even when I'm not around.
you. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. Can everyone hear us?
Good evening. I think they can. I think we're all right. I can see Isaac Armstrong in chat there. Hello, rules lawyer. Hello. Hopefully some other people have snuck in as well. Let's do a pop out of chat here so I can actually read it properly. There we go.
Hooray!
Rules lawyer, it is going all right.
Hooray.
Thank you, sir. How about yourself?
Should we do a little intro thing?
Yeah.
If people can hear us. They probably can hear us.
I'm pretty sure we're all right.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sit, Talk and Hobby, episode 157, where essentially myself and Tom sit here, we do some hobby, talk a load of rubbish, and drink some drinks, and encourage you to do exactly the same at home. Pretend we're in the room with you. Hopefully it's not the bathroom.
Yeah. Please be in a normal room unless absolutely necessary.
Yeah. Sexy chamber, not there.
No. We've got our limits.
So Tom, I saw before the stream started, you have got something there. What are you working on tonight? You working on anything?
Yes, I've got. I'm carrying on with my nights at the moment because I had to do some slight surgery because I had some arm gluing issues, as in they were because I painted and I realised I should have taken them off before starting to paint them, so I had to do some removal because I realised annoyingly I've taken these things off and a couple of them you can see they're the bloody.
Oh,
yeah,
no!
I didn't even glue them. I think it just must have been wet on the join or something. So it's caught. It's fine because what I'll do is I'll glue them in place once I've finished painting them. It's just because it's just very frustrating because it's like I swear I didn't put any on it. Unfortunately I happened to three of them I think. So half of the ones I got. Although I haven't tried taking this one off yet because I did those two. I was like, but we'll. Oh no, this is the one I can't do actually because there's a problem with one of the arms and I don't want to risk snapping something. That's why I've left this one alone. I remember having looked at it now because this was the cobbled together one because I had a spare kit, but it didn't have the right weapons. But I've managed to. Well, you probably can't see it, but I've did some. It's missing that.
Oh yeah.
Back point there because I was able to convert that to use it, but just with that on it. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm going to be carrying on with tonight. And how about yourself?
Well. I got to a point where I've done a lot of painting recently of Chaos Space Marines, and I don't. For people who don't know, I know Tom does know. I entered a painting challenge, a competition. You can't see this, but it's from a website/store called The Travelling Man, and for £20, 20 British pounds, they have sent me a Blood Bowl model, a random Blood Bowl model here, which I'll be assembling tonight, and 4 paints.
Ooh,
4 paints. And my challenge/competition is to paint said model with these particular paints. There are a few little bits I can chuck in, such I believe I can use black and white. I can obviously prime it.
Yeah,
black
they can't really stop you doing that, can they?
Can't really stop me doing that. Yeah. There's a few little rules there which I'll be going through. You may prime your MIDI with black or white. Your choice. Mediums are allowed as long as they add no additional colour to the paints. The basing material provided.
Nice.
Provided must be used. However, you may add other basing materials as you see fit. Kit bashing is also allowed, but the main focus of the miniature must still be on the original mini. The main criteria for the competition will be the use of colours given to create the best looking miniature. There will be 1 overall winner and 3 runners-up, as well as 2 staff picks. There you go.
So do you have to send it back, or do you just go take photos?
What? No, I'll keep it. I've just got to take photos of it. And I
Okay.
think it's some sort of vampire Blood Bowl guy.
It looked like it, but I
I'm going to
wasn't
glue him
sure.
up and I'll tell you in a moment. And see how it goes. What's everyone working on tonight in the chat? Anything amazing and fun?
And that sounds like a fun weekend rules
Ah!
lawyer, so a bit more Horus Heresy. So then it was the Horus Heresy's League Results Day and a party at a brewery on Sunday. That sounds like a good weekend. Funny enough, I went to a brewery a couple of weekends ago as well. It was a bad day.
Zero there.
Well, I did not intend to consume as much alcohol as I did that day. And funny enough, it wasn't all at a brewery, but that's what happens when your mum plans her birthday party as well, and we go out for a meal straight after going to a brewery.
Zero there, Thomas. Very irresponsible.
It was. Luckily, it was all
However, I had a tournament on Saturday, which I attended.
You did?
Which was a lot of fun. I took my Creations of Bile list, which was a lot of fun with random kind of like stats that you can add on to your detachment. And I won 2 of my 3 games, which I was quite impressed with. I'll kind of run through what I played against. So the first guy I played against was like a mirror match against my list.
Oh.
It had a few different things in there, so it was a bit of all sorts. It was quite good because when I was playing him, I was like, "Oh, this is painful. Like this is hurting a lot." There's certain things I was like, "No, I can't deal with this." Like he had a 10-man chosen squad with Fabius Bile and an Executioner, and he just completely squished me.
That's normally one of your
Like,
tricks,
anything
isn't
I put
it?
up against it died. Well, I had a 10-man Terminator squad that didn't do much better, and they just got they got caned by all this stuff that was coming in. It was a fun game. It was a good opponent, but he went on to win the tournament.
Ah, well, at least you lost to the winner.
However, he did make out that he's only ever done one tournament before, so questionable if that was just.
Did you feel he'd only done one tournament, or did it feel a little bit like,
It's a hard one, right? Because I was thinking this as you play events. You have armies that are either really well painted, really well commission painted, not very well painted. Hello, Nebuchadnezzar.
good evening, I'm doing well as well.
And this guy had so it was a Chaos Space Marine army, and it was kind of a like renegade force, not a legion, like a renegade chapter list. So he had a lot of old firstborn Marines, which he'd been converting.
Okay.
Which was interesting, and I had a feeling that he'd built them because of this is what I need, this is what I'm building, this is what I'm doing, so I'm going to kit bash, and this represents this, and this represents that. And I was like, that's cool. It all looks like WYSIWYG. It's all here, like what you've got. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, I've got a feeling he knew what he was doing.
Lull you into a false sense of security, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. And then the second game was against our friend Paul, and he had his World Eaters. It's nice. I was like, because we went for lunch and we both looked at each other's scores, and we're like, look, we're probably playing each other. Like you and me have done several times at events, and it's kind of like it's just. I love it. I think it's nice playing new people.
It's like, yeah.
But especially after the first game where I got beaten quite badly, I was like, I need a game where I can like just not stress about. And when you're playing your mate, you're like, we went to the shop, we got lots of like sweets, and we're like, we're probably gonna play each other. We're gonna have a chilled game. We're gonna have fun. And yeah, it's really good fun. I think Paul was getting a bit fed up with my overwatching las cannons.
No, surely not.
Like, I was like, I can't. I'm sorry, Paul. It just happens. I just roll 6s when my las cannons need to overwatch. So that was fun. So I got a win out of that one. And then finally, I played against Grey Knights, which I was a bit like, oh, I don't want to play Grey Knights. I've never known anyone have a fun time when they're playing
No.
against Grey Knights.
Oh, hopefully Dom is not completely gone. But he has frozen. Let's pray that he comes back. I'll just message him to make sure he's realised he is no longer streaming. It's punishment for bad mouthing Grey Knights. Oh, he's back. Is he back? I did just message you because I was like, I was hoping you weren't sitting there just talking.
I was for a bit and then I realised. Anyway, so Grey Knights, it was a good game. He was a really nice guy. He left himself a bit vulnerable at certain points where he'd have a squad and he wouldn't pick them up and take them off the board. And then I was like, no, attack, 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 attack. And suddenly, yeah, I took a lot out. And by the end of it, I think he had one squad. And I think his name's Crow, the
Castellan Crow.
The Castellan Crow, and like half a squad of, I think, of Purifiers left. And he just didn't have enough chance.
Oh no, Dom going again. I think I'm going to need to pay him a visit and do some IT work for him. I think I'm just going to break into his garden one evening and run a cable for him when he's not looking. And he won't even notice. He'll just be like, "Oh, it seems to be working all the time now." Yeah, he's not happy. Give him a minute and see if he comes back. Yes, so obviously I unfortunately missed out on the tournament because I had prior engagements that week. Oh, there he is. He back again? He's thinking about it.
Who knows?
I just told them I'm going to break into your garden when you go away at some point and just run this cable for you, mate.
Nice.
I just need to drill in some cable, mate. We'll sort it out.
Yeah, fine. I think the problem is the bit of string with the two cups. I think there's a mark somewhere down it. It's kind of ruined things. I need to get a new cup.
You should start working as one of those living statues in the cities.
Yeah.
But yes, you were saying Grey Knights. Last guy.
Yeah, Grey Knights, not overly fun.
No.
But a lovely opponent. And I think there were just a few opportunities that I was then able to kind of take advantage of and put it round to a nice win in the end, which was ideal. Because I was like, I barely play Grey Knights, but somehow I've done it. So, yeah, happy times.
Yeah, I must admit, I think we played Grey Knights last time in the doubles as well. We didn't have a particularly fun time.
No, that was not fun. And I think that's the difference between opponents as well. Because when I was playing this Jack guy, he was really good. He would just explain everything. And he kind of gave me a few little tips. And I was like, he was a genuinely nice guy. And I would happily play him again. Because it's just, I find with some games, I get almost a bit anxious. Because I'm like, oh, I don't know what this guy's going to be like. Is he going to be a bit of a knobhead? Or is he going to be all right? And so when you finally play a guy and you go, no, he's all right. You're like,
we're okay.
We're okay. This game. Yeah. Happy times.
If I'm something else, I think the worst. I think we're speaking of that opponent type. I think the worst ones that are pretending to be nice.
Yeah. Or pretending to go, oh, I barely played this.
Yeah. But they're going, oh, I'll tell you everything how it all works, but it's done in a very there's two ways of doing it, and I feel like sometimes we've always been stuck with the second way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've got a bad habit of zoning out as well though when people are telling me how their list works. I
I
think
relate to that. Yeah,
after a while I'm like, you're telling to me too much. There's
exactly.
far too many tricks than there should be. Yes.
Isaac Thompson says, "Ooh, oh, well, I know we're just just saying this is what it's like. Sometimes when you play games, the opponents can make or break a good game. Sometimes it really can change if you enjoy the whole day. Sometimes, so you have to, yeah. I think the fair thing to do is just always play as if you want to, the way you want to be played against. I suppose as well. It's important. Because you can't be that person and then complain about that person.
It's a hard thing, isn't it? Because I kind of think of like it just goes throughout life though. Like if you work in a shop, you know, you serve people as if like how
hmm
you'd want to be served.
Yeah.
And likewise, when you go in a shop, you treat staff like you'd like to be treated. And likewise for 40k, you go to a game, you're like, all right, I'm going to play this guy. I'm going to be like the best me I can possibly be. I might cock up at some point. I might get a rule wrong, but hopefully they realize it's a genuine mistake. But yeah, we will see. He is a vampire, Thomas.
Well, there we go. So now you can do a color scheme for him. I bet. Have you got vampire colors though? Have you got like that patterned flesh?
Well.
Or is he gonna have to be like a
Well, I
tropical?
can't use those, can I? He's gonna be a Caribbean, sun-loving.
A Pirates of the Caribbean
I've
style
got
vampire.
I've got pink horror.
Okay, yeah, this is yeah.
I've got Castellax bronze, Guardian green,
Okay, yeah, he's gonna be
and yeah, some sort of red.
a pineapple vampire.
So, pineapple vampires. They know what they're doing with these. Like, literally give them the worst paint. Because we've got a vampire. Give them the brightest colours.
He probably closed. They probably closed their eyes and just went this lot, and then dropped it into your bag.
Yeah, he'll like it.
So last week obviously, or the other week, not last week, the week before when I was streaming, obviously, the guys I was talking about. I don't know if you watched it yet. Have you watched the Return to Cadia animation yet?
Yes, I have. Yeah. Yeah, have you seen it?
Yeah. I was actually curious in your thoughts. I meant to message you the other day about it.
I liked it was different from your standard kind of 40k stories where it's all like a bit gung ho and boom boom boom. It's more horror, a bit more kind of event-ish horizon
Yes.
than the other ones. Naturally, we can make the complaint that it was too short because they're all quite short. But I quite like the word bear representation in it, and I do like how they're starting to represent Cadians more. That they are a bit more grizzled and they're getting a bit older.
Yeah. Got the
I'm
old
not sure it's
timer.
my favourite one,
No,
but I like the idea of it and the yeah. But
I think my comment on it was actually I think it could have been quite nice as a kind of like a 3-part series.
Yeah.
Where they were kind of gradually picked off a little bit more because I felt that style of I suppose the theme didn't really lend itself really well to a short thing, because that obviously the whole thing was about terrorizing and drawing out the kill, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was like, well, you've got 20 minutes to tell this story. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Whereas if they'd done like a couple of episodes of it, that might have actually helped. Because they can't change the length of it. I won't start on that. I'll get grumpy about that again.
Yeah, exactly. They can do like they did, where they can just go, look, okay, you can watch it all together at the end, but for now it's like 10 minutes an episode or whatever it is.
What's this here? Rules are you hear stories of toilet dice in 40k tournaments. I know the majority of people aren't like that, but I don't have the patience for those shenanigans. No, that's fair enough. No, I haven't. If I'm telling you else, I won't say I've witnessed dice cheating all that much. I might not have noticed it, but I don't think I've seen anything like that having been played in any of the tournaments I've played in. I'm sure it goes on, but I haven't witnessed it personally. I don't think. I've had a lot of people trying to slip rules through, or or things like that. But nothing on that level. And I think Dom's bottoming out again over there. So yeah, so Isaac's working on his death cause of I'm just checking, Isaac. Are you watching us live? Because I feel like I don't know if you're watching us live, because it feels like the questions you're answering are from a bit earlier in the stream. I'm just saying, I might be wrong. I'm just putting it out there. All right, because I just want to check that you're up to date. So if you do hear this in a minute, make sure you click the live button. Well, Dom is Azafel. Hello, welcome. Good to see you again. Proof of what happens when someone turns their back on the Emperor and the Omnissiah. But yeah, I suppose the other thing, I think the other one was that I think they had the Astartes 2 trailer that looked interesting. A lot of different chapters represented in that. Looked quite an entertaining little animation. Hopefully they'll do justice to that. Although the guy did the first one, obviously still doing that one, so I assume it will be on a similar level with a bit of luck. Yeah, I agree, Fernando, because I think there's to be fair, coming off the back of what he did with the first one, I think there's a really good chance it'll come out pretty good. Yeah, no, obviously that was without any. Oh, hello. Dom may have properly dropped off there. Can you just excuse me 1 minute, guys? 1 moment. And apologies. 1 sec. Sorry, just do something quickly. Retributors, Size of the Emperor, Mortifactors, Sons of Medusa, Angels of Vermilion appear to be. Yes, there was a really good representation of. Apparently, Dom says his internet is now dead, so we'll see if he can somehow make it back. But we'll soldier on for a bit. I am just going to change my layout on the screen. That's better. There we go. Just so it fits in the things. You're not watching double screens. I think it sounds like Dom's in chat, but he's in spirit. So Dom, is your internet dead? As in, like, all your internet's dead, or just you're up in your cave? Yeah, actually, Dom, do turn it on and off again if you haven't. So one of the other things I was going to have a little talk about tonight, I was saying up in the Arctic outpost, is I was so obviously Dom was at a tournament at the weekend, and I was sort of I've got quite a backlog of magazines now from this combat patrol thing, which is really getting a bit out of control. I'll just show you the currently unopened ones here. I've been trying to get through them, but luckily some of them don't all come with models. Well, there is some that comes with paint and things like that. But I also got my first because I paid for the Z Premium set, and I got my first. This comes like this. So you get this like every 4 sets of deliveries, something like So this one basically has a Brutalis and a Hive. Is it Hive Guard? Yeah, Hive Tyrant, not Hive Guard. Hive Tyrant. So yeah, and obviously that's one of the ones I've been waiting for because I really wanted to get another Brutalis, like a new one. So I'm looking forward to basically getting that sorted out because I've been toying with some, because we played that game the other week where I played against tanks with my infantry list and things like that, and I thought what from a kind of maybe a potential tournament playing this, what could I do differently? Just do some stuff outside the box. So I've actually decided to have another look at my drop pods. This is where my brain went. Yeah, I've kind of got an idea how I'm going to use them, which is basically going to be, so instead of using mobile transports for my sword brother, I was going to use drop pods. And and one of the big questions that come up with this is, does a drop pod kind of still work? Is it valuable? Because it's 70 points for something that can't move once it's dropped onto the board. Oh, hello, Don back. Looks like he might be. Just quickly split the screen back out again, because it looks like he's trying to connect. We'll see if he gets back in. But anyway, yeah. So I was planning on sort of building a list around some pods, just to sort of do something a bit different. And yeah, one of the things that one of our friends was sort of going on about is sort of like, well, people don't take them because, why not just take a Rhino for an extra 5 points, because they can, obviously they can move around. They've got a bit more, I suppose, a bit more utility from the point of view of being useful after they've dropped down. And then, so I then started trying to think of the different angle of how drop pods might be more useful in a way. Because obviously I think sometimes you have to justify how you're going to use something, and you're going to put it in a tournament based list or competitive based list. And what I actually thought was, yes, they can't move, but also what it does enable you to do is you have 3 things that can drop down on the first turn, whether it's obviously whether it's your turn first, second turn, or you're going second. So they're kind of protected to a certain degree because they're not on the board. But what it also allows you to do, in my opinion, is that technically you could hide the rest of your army completely out of line of sight, or as best as possible, before. So even if you're not, so even before you're going to get first turn or second turn, and you could still have the opportunity, if you got first turn, to drop those 3 things down in a quite a forward position. And that was kind of my thinking. So I'm gonna try it. Because actually, I think that could be quite an interesting way of looking at it. So the rest of that list was actually ended up having some other quite cool things, because I've got my where are they? They're actually over here, aren't they? Yeah, I've got my new Stern Guard veterans, which I'm going to get Templared up, and I was very grateful at these guys, because obviously the Stern Guard veterans come with the tab mod, so I didn't have to worry about kit bashing any of that. And they're in there. I've got, and the reason why I bought the Brutalis up is because I actually want 2 Brutalises in the list, because I want 2 things that I put on the board that are kind of like, oh, well, they're on the board. I'm going to have to deal with them as well. So yeah, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on drop pods in this edition. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I mean, never know, this edition might be ending soon, because there's lots of rumours about a new starter set coming out, but we'll see. I don't know if you've seen some of these things with like the leaks was for the salamanders and all the probably, I think Black Templars were maybe in the room, because I think we were talking about this last week about it being potentially something to do with Armageddon, which would be very cool, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, but drop pods. What are your guys' thoughts on drop pods? When was the last time you used them? Would you use them in an army? And Jack, I don't know if he can tether, because I don't know if he's got the stuff up there. Well, 11th edition is likely going to be something. Yeah, I think that sounds like a fairly rational kind of deduction, I think, for an Open Inquisitor. And also saying in this edition, Is lost on you. I haven't been playing. Obviously, I know you play a lot of Old and Horror Heresy in 10th. Yes, in 10th edition didn't really speak to you. That's fair enough. I get that. I had I think 7th edition lost me quite heavily towards the end of it because it got into this. I suppose it turned into kind of a weapon of just kind of a destroy weapon back and forth. But yeah, I've not played the edition, but I do think it's 2-min max meta, copy paste, binge, boring. This drop pods are cool. AF. If it's cool, win or lose. Yeah, is that precisely, Cat? So the way I've been trying to think about. I mean, even in competitive lists and narrative lists, anything like that, I always try and think of different ways to do things. So I realised, obviously, I've been playing a lot of my Templars, obviously, last few sort of, especially in the end of last year, in games, and I've kind of got into a very similar list building mindset. I want to do something to sort of break out of that cycle of doing the same thing over and over again. And yes, Dom, I agree. This is what I was thinking. The reason I think the key thing here is that I think it gives you the ability to actually hide most of your army in the first turn quite effectively because you're not worrying about having to say put a rhino on the front line to get it up the board to where you need it to be. You know that you've got those things dropping in to suddenly go exactly where you need them, even if it is 9 inches away. And I know there's a lot of risk involved in that, but it's something that the opponent would have to think about, and also you could then protect a lot of your army by just keeping line of sight. Or keeping out of line of sight, not in line of sight, that'd be rather stupid. I'm not a fan of the 3-year edition cycle, it's just too fast. Write a good edition. Yeah, I think I would lean on agreeing with that rules wise. I think there is quite a. I mean, to be honest, it's been. I think it's been like that since 8th. I think 8th has started a very, very quick barrel roll of edition rolling because I think when we're getting 8th and quite enjoying initially because I think that was when everything was obviously indexified. The index edition. I remember the beginning of that, and that was pretty fun because there wasn't really. Everyone was in the kind of the same boat. No one had like an overpowered codex, and obviously the codexes started coming out, and that's when things started to change quite dramatically because they got a lot of cool things, and then some people were waiting quite a while for stuff to come out. Some people never got anything because it got their army got trashed off or whatever, all that kind of stuff. So rules of the quality has nothing to do with the cycle. Really, no matter how good the rules are, they'll roll out a new edition. Yes, I think, as I said, I think. They do have a cycle coming, and I think that's going to be. I think us wanting to get away from that probably won't happen. I think it will continue to happen. I mean, personally, I would like to see them take an edition and kind of patch it rather than giving it a whole new fanfare over. This is a new edition of 40k. Just make it a thing like this is. We don't even put a number on it. Just call it the rules, and basically, call it version. Give it the year, version 2020, whatever, and then do updates to that without changing it dramatically. And Isaac says, what do you guys think about this list to put in the new Death Core Krieg HQ and 30 Death Risers? So 30 Death Riders. I mean, it sounds cool. I mean, anything with horses. I think that's the Death Riders. I haven't looked too much into the Krieg stuff, but that sounds cool. Rules Lawyer saying 7th edition had a good core rules, but the later cases with the double formation buffs and super heavies in regular size games instead of being limited. Yes, for me it was I think really the destroyer weapons in 7th edition really made it a little bit unfun from my personal opinion because I think especially I think Eldar had a very strong end to that edition with their I can't. I cannot even remember what the unit was, but it was the one with the double destroyer cannons. And I just remember them just you soon saw that on the board, and it was just like they had a couple of them. It's like, oh well, that's just delete. So yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't say I was totally against sort of updates to existing editions coming out. I think that's all right. I think it's just when it becomes this whole fanfare of this is a whole new version of 40k because that's not really true. They make a very big thing about it, and having a box set come out is great. But why not have generic rules update to an existing edition where they tweak things and try and carry the good bits and make them stronger, and then not necessarily nerf the bad bits, but just try and phase out bad bits. So I think it's yeah, I don't. You'll never please everyone for starters, so it's all very well sort of saying do this, and whatever, but they'll never ever. You'll never get a bunch of people in the room that all go, "Oh yeah, that was a great idea." Every single one of them. People like the game in different ways, but that's also why I think they have Horus Heresy, and they have obviously the smaller games like Blood Bowl and Necromunda and all the other sort of add-on games, because that's the one thing that I think they've done quite well is they normally have like a niche for what you like, or if you want to try something. Well, I mean, one of the games I've really, really wanted to try, and every year I go to myself, oh yeah, I'll give it a go, is the Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth stuff. I'd love to try that out, because that's one genre, and also from a lore and world kind of setting I love. At Friendly Moves vs. Scree, they make too many changes in too short a time. I think if they made a healthy game with the aim of longevity in mind, this is that. So people have got very different views of this, and I think I'm probably going to be sitting in the middle on this. Is that I'd like a patching system of taking a rule set that's got some good roots and gradually upgrading it. And they can make a fanfare about doing the update where it's obviously the FAQs can only work to a certain degree, because there comes a point when you've published so many FAQs that it no longer resembles the original thing that they put out, and and ultimately people don't want to be going, oh, I've read the rule book, and then people go, oh, but have you read the 20 FAQs? Well, now it's kind of one, because it's normally bundled into one document, which is a lot better. Have you read all through that and made the alterations based on what's happened in those things there? So I think there's definitely some room for improvement in that respect. GWR, the business stage of everything they do has to be about selling models and less about the hobby. New edition, and I think that's fair, and I think that's I think that's just the world we live in nowadays. I think everything normally is about hype and reselling stuff that technically is the same but repackaged or slightly differently done. I love buying the new things as well, but I will say that for me that's kind of dropped off a little bit. I do tend to think a bit more now before generally purchasing. I've actually really enjoyed having the Combat Patrol stuff, because I haven't felt the need to purchase models like those and go down and get specific stuff, because I've got a steady stream of stuff coming in. I'm looking at them over there right now, and I'm thinking I've got a lot to paint still, and I've still got these knights I'm doing. So because I did these the other week as well. I've got some. I think these are Barbergauns. Yeah, so I've got like nids I need to do, and I haven't even got into this. Is just the first two armies in the set, because I'm quite committed to doing the whole lot, and seeing how that all kind of pans out and looks. I think it'll be quite cool. But yeah, what the hell's this? So we have Psychophage as well. Let's see, where's that going? And I'm not too sure about the terrain bits that come with it, but I suppose they're cool if you haven't got anything. But for me, they're a bit they don't really suit what I'm doing. What's good here? So rules were, but my statement wasn't on. They should do. They don't make these new editions to give us better rule system. They only do it to keep selling more and more books. And I don't think each edition needs a new codex. It should be doable on a codex supplement. And I think it does relate to quality. They have no incentive to write a good edition that can be stress tested when they can change with quarterly FQs when new edition comes a few years. And Captain Jack says it's twofold with the make new stuff to make money. Yes, they do it, but also the majority of peeps buy into it. Can't blame a company. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, people wouldn't do it if it wasn't, I suppose, working on some level, because ultimately they must sell a lot of stuff. I mean, and like I said, obviously rules are Horus Heresy I think has got different reasons, because obviously that rule set that's been kind of set in stone for a while now. I'm going to presume. I haven't really followed it in a great deal, but I suppose that's quite a slightly more steady rule system and hasn't changed dramatically, bar what you're given as updates in probably army books and codexes and things like that. So, um, but yeah, I think there's a happy middle ground to be had. But I think obviously 40k is always going to be, I suppose, that double-edged sword for them, and also normally going to be at the bleeding edge of what they're doing, because that's kind of one of their big, I suppose, money-making, things that they do. So I wouldn't. I don't think the formula is going to change too much unless something drastically happens. Um, like if sales drop off big time, they would have to obviously rethink what they were doing. But if it doesn't, then why would they? I do agree with Jack on that. I think if they're you know if they're making money off people buying lots of stuff, that I think them changing that is highly unlikely. And ultimately, you know, everyone's got a game set and a game set of rules that they enjoy and what gels with them. I thought I wanted to play Horus Heresy myself, and I think I probably would like to play it, but again, I don't really want to get into doing a whole new system and a whole new set of models and things like that. It's enjoyable to a certain extent, but when when time's a premium, it's difficult to add another thing, because I wouldn't want to give up 40k because I still enjoy it. It's I found that one of the most enjoyable things to do over last year was shrinking down the number of armies I had, so I could focus on the ones that I actually enjoy playing and painting and doing things with. Azafel says, I'm still working my way through the previous version of Conquest, the Imperium one. So didn't I can understand that, Azafel. I mean, to be honest, I suspect this will keep me going for a very long time, because I am, although I will say that I am planning on some of the other armies that I'm not particularly interested in collecting. I'll probably give the models away for them, but I'll keep the magazine bits. Obviously, if someone needs instructions, I'll take photos of them. But I kind of want to have that magazine collection, because I think that's quite a cool thing to have. I mean, I've got the folder now. I can't can't not do it. But yeah, because essentially, like, as an example, I don't really want to do orcs. So if they're, I think they're in. I haven't got the full set of stuff in there, but like the World Eater stuff, when that does turn up and come around, that'll probably go to Vicky, because I'm not planning on starting World Eater's army. Probably the Chaos stuff as well, I'm going to guess. I've still got my Night Lords that are knocking about, but I haven't really done an awful lot with them. But I think a lot of this is also, for me, is to do with the fact that I have a lot of stuff packed away. I have a lot of stuff not really out, because I'm all my stuff. You can see behind me. This is it's not a huge room. I would under no circumstances say it's a small room either. But it's for me, it's a lot of my stuff's out of sight and out of mind, so I kind of forget about it sometimes. So like my Night Lord collection is in a box, my Death Guard collections are now in a box, and I think once we kind of, we're hoping to move this year, so once we've got that and we've got everything out, I can have a look at everything again. Up there behind me, just the big box on the shelf up there, that's got the boarding action stuff in it, which I've put together. I want to get that done, but it's a lot of terrain to do, and I'm just sitting looking at it going, where am I going to put it once I've painted it? I'm going to keep it in the box on the shelf up there, and it will never come out. It's like it's mad. So trying to keep motivated to do things when you don't necessarily see everything sometimes as well is quite difficult. So we catch up on some of this. Rules Lawyer says Heresy was initially campaigned for 6th and 7th. Then first edition was a reprint of the 7th edition rules with some quality of life tweaks. Second edition was new edition, but very similar. Yeah. So that's what I thought. So yes, because I remember Heresy was kind of a break at the 7th edition bit, and I know they kept a lot of it. That was one of the things that made me a bit wary of the edition. But then the bit that I always thought that might counter it is that a lot of the armies were quite in similar veins, so you kind of balancing would probably be a lot easier. Because I think one of the key issues and one of its greatest strengths for 40k, and why it's so difficult to balance, is that they need to maintain a difference between the factions, but at the same time not make it so that one faction always runs away with everything. But they also need to make them different so they don't all seem the same. And yes, they can do that with the looks of the models, and they can do that with the how people paint them and how they're modeled, and how from a physical point of view. But they had to be careful with the rules, because ultimately you'll have a core set of rules that every army has access to, but people want a bit of individuality of how their army plays, and how and how they interact with other players. And I think that's one thing that makes it probably, I think, 40k quite a difficult game to balance. because you know there's such variation in the armies when you actually genuinely think about it. Um, yeah, I mean some of the armies have much tighter parallels, but when you're sort of playing the through and you sort of go, that rule's quite similar to how that rule works. That rule's quite similar to that rules, but ultimately, if they made it all the same, it would be very boring. And I think people want different play styles, and I think there's a lot of different armies now. Um, D weapons got nerfed hard from 7th ed 40k to first. Essentially, they better exactly also, and I think that's if I was to do that rule set, that's the one thing I would have taken. Not I think nerfing is probably the good way to go in for that one because I just remember that being one of my biggest irritations was the fact that someone with a D weapon could just instant destroy stuff without much interaction on the other player side. I think that made it very. I think it was a bad decision for them to add them in the way they did them initially, because it definitely sold models. Especially Wraith Knights. That was it. The Eldar Wraith Knight. That was. I was trying to remember the damn name of the model. I remember them being an absolute plague on boards for quite a long time because of their dual D weapons, and it was just like you got a couple of them against you or whatever reason. It was just horrific. Because I think if you go back through our channel a little bit, I think Dom did a little how many knights does it take to kill a Wraith Knight, and I think we gave Wraith Knight one life, and put it up against a knight, and then 2 knights, then 3 knights. We never let the Wraith Knight regain wounds. I think it got up to 4 or 5 knights before it died. Which kind of that was us highlighting that complete imbalance in that rule. So yeah, but I think it's I think balance in 40k I think is a tough one for them to manage, just because of the way that people want variation, people want a bit of difference in how they play, what's played and things like that, and I think it's difficult to, I suppose, keep that level of difference while also making the game fair. Also says, yeah, they added reactions that you can use to. Yes, and I love the idea of reactions. That was one thing. Obviously they have that similar. Obviously, stratagems in 40k operate in a similar way. I know they're not quite the same, but they've got similarities in the way that you can react with certain things in 40k. I mean, ultimately, I'm one of these people that I loved the idea of alternate activations for everything. Because I think the Apocalypse rule set when me and Dom trialed it had a system in which was quite similar, where if you destroyed something on your turn, it wasn't dead until everything rolled around. So the other person could shoot. So let's say you both had a Titan. Your Titan shot their Titan, destroyed that Titan. The Titan didn't come straight off the board. That Titan could then have a chance to do something in their turn. But I also like the idea of alternate activations where you activate a model and then the other player activates the model, and there's not really a turn cycle, so to speak. It's one turn. Both players have to go through every single one of their models with an action, and then that becomes the second turn, because that way I think that's the ultimate way to create reactions in the game, so that if something happens to you, you can then instantly react with one of your models if you want to in a similar way. But I don't think that'll happen. I think it's still going to traditionally. Isaac, yes, we do still have a Discord chat. I will create an invite and you can click the link, my friend. Bear with me one moment. Might just go black for a second because I'm just copying something. That is not going to help. Pardon me. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I think let's try that one more time. There we go. When it's in the stream mode, you see, guys, it kind of hides things, which is fair enough. that is a link to our Discord. So if you haven't joined it, feel free to click it, and I will get you into the appropriate group when I can get on there and manage some of the bits after this. So rules are saying kill teams that come out have alternate activations, both great games. Two of my favourite GWs current. Yes, exactly. And I think alternate activations is actually a really cool idea for interactive for 2-player games, because I think when players feel they have agency to react to something that's happened without actually having to pay a point for it, as an example, like a stratagem point, things like that, I think it actually lends us quite nicely to overall gameplay sometimes. And I'd love to see that in the thing, but I think it would slow the game down. Although I don't know, maybe it wouldn't. It's a tough one. It still technically do the same amount of stuff, but it might change a lot of the way that people play the game. And also I don't know how you would dictate having a move, a shoot, and all this kind of stuff. Could you choose one of those 3 actions or an alternate action? That's probably where it would come unstuck in that faction. It would require a slight rethink in how it works. But yeah, it's just one of the reasons that things like an Apocalypse game for me are probably peak fun, because it's not alternate activations, but there's so much on the board. It doesn't really matter what's going on. The base rules kind of go out the window at that point. Yeah, you're just trying to do as much damage as you can, and yeah, sometimes it can tip over, but sometimes equally it can just swing back the other way. Rules says I think it works for the fast, snappy games that emulate firefights. I don't think it would. No, I think, and I think you're right, Rosa. I think that's why, as much as one of those things, I'd like to try a version of the game where that was done at its core, just to see what it was like. Because I think it could be interesting, but I think the games are too big to make it work properly. I think it would become more of a clunky, I suppose, clunky back and forth between players, and I think it makes innately would make things, you'd have to track more things that were going on, just even if you just switch that style of gaming, because obviously you've got to track everything that your opponent's done on that turn, and also all the stuff that you're doing on your turn, at the same time. Whereas when it's just your turn, I haven't done this. I only have to worry about that. Whereas now you're having to worry about, did they move that one already? Did they shoot that one already? Did we come to this side of the board? All this kind of stuff. Rules says I like the old Apocalypse game rules. I move, you move. I shoot, you shoot. Yes, yeah. That was quite that was a good another good example again. I think that's where I kind of go back to there, and I think there's some cool features to be had there. I think I suppose one of the cooler things that I think Games Workshop could do, if they were really feeling they wanted to get the community involved in making the next edition, is they release like 3 different rule sets that they've come up with, for Warhammer 40k, and they make this, and they give them out and say, look, we're thinking of moving the game in these 3 directions. We're not sure which one's best. Go out and have a play with them using the existing rules and some of these test bits here. Come back to some feedback and let's see what's going on. Make it a public thing for a year before running it, and try and get people to actually play it and see what people's reactions are to it. I think that would be quite a cool way of doing it. Having phases that apply to both of us rather than moving unit by unit is a lot. Yeah, I think there's definitely an element that would be quite good as well. I think, because sometimes you can feel in 40k that when it's not your turn, yes, you can do certain things where you say, oh, I'm going to interrupt with this command point, or so if you don't have command points, obviously you can't do anything typically. But I think you can sometimes kind of how to really divide the community. Well, yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, I just think it'd be cool. I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm not an expert in these things. I just think it would be quite a cool thing to see. Just to see really inside their thought process, because then people would understand what goes into, what goes into doing it. Because ultimately we all sit here and we pick things apart as we do because we're outside observers and things like that, but we don't really understand the whole process that goes through it, and how long it takes, and who's involved, who's doing what they go through. It would be Horus Heresy in real time. maybe that could be part of a 40k game off that point, as a fell. So you turn up with your 3 rule sets, and then you both bid on which part of that rule set you're going to use. So I want to do the combat like this, and it goes, well, I'm going to do movement like this, and then you kind of play a kind of different style of cookie cutter 40k where you just pick the bits you want from your thing and you have to play, the other opponent has to play your version of those rules for that section. Oh dear, no, let's not do that. No, it was more of a rather, I think, more like a beta or alpha test kind of style scenario, like you do, like they used to do with games when you used to, you used to go and they gave you the game. They said, look, have at it. Tell us what you think of it. Then we'll make adjustments. I mean, obviously, that slightly different context because obviously I'm talking about doing more than one rule set. But yeah, ultimately, I think it's but showing that I think it'd be quite cool. That's just me, I like that kind of thing. I like seeing inside what the thought process of something from start to finish, and people might even appreciate what genuinely goes on then, because I think a lot of people think these things are sort of just like, oh, we're just going to do this, and then they've done that to nerf this and that, and there might have been different reasons. So we don't know. We're not flies on the wall in the design rooms. Obviously, probably the majority of people think it's just people do it to make the money. We don't know that really. There could be a multitude. I'm sure there are people like that, and I'm sure that ultimately that's the ultimate goal is they need to make money. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a hobby for us to play anyway. So, but yeah. Well, as my partner in crime has decided not to return to the stream, I think I'm going to wrap it up there because my my voice is rapidly disappearing, and I will. Yeah, I think I'll call it there for tonight, guys. So thank you for the nice conversation on all this stuff tonight, and it's been enjoyable to chat you on. And hopefully next week we'll have Dom back on for the full stream, and we can and yes, if you could hit the likes, that would be great. And also if you want to join, there's a Discord link up there. Come to the Discord chat, come and have a chat with us. And we'll I will see you next week for another Sit Talk and Hobby. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evenings and take care of yourselves. Bye bye.